What if the end of the world isn't a bang, but a whisper that weaves its way into the human mind through ancient texts? Would we be awake enough to listen and decipher? Throughout history, humanity has been haunted by the idea of an ending, the end of the world, the final judgment. From rudimentary cave paintings to monumental literary works, the fear and curiosity about the end times have been deeply ingrained in the human psyche. But perhaps no source material has depicted this vision more vividly and controversially than the prophecies scattered throughout the Bible, especially in the books of the great prophets such as Isaiah, Ezekiel, Daniel, culminating in the book of Revelation. Let us embark on a journey to explore these ancient pages, where time seems to blur, and mysterious symbols hide messages that are both terrifying and compelling. We will not attempt to offer a definitive explanation or a specific prediction, but rather we will contemplate the questions these prophecies have posed to humanity for thousands of years. We are not talking about vague oracles or the random predictions of astrologers. We are talking about texts that millions believe to be divinely inspired, lines that have shaped human thought, faith, and even wars throughout millennia. We will collectively examine why these prophecies continue to spark endless curiosity and debate. Isaiah, a warning bell of decline and the hope of rebirth. One of the first powerful prophetic voices concerning decline and potential rebirth is found in the book of Isaiah. Living in the 8th century BC, amidst the looming threat of the mighty Assyrian Empire, a military superpower of its time, the kingdom of Judah faced immense pressure. Isaiah not only condemned the social injustices, idolatry, and moral decay of the people of Israel, but also revealed visions of a turbulent future that extended beyond the immediate conflict. He did not hesitate to warn of destruction, a great cleansing that would come from God's hand, not only for Judah but also for neighboring nations. Isaiah wrote, with a tone both solemn and sorrowful, "See, the day of the Lord is coming, a cruel day, with wrath and fierce anger, to make the land desolate and destroy the sinners within it. The stars of heaven and their constellations will not show their light, the rising sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light." Isaiah 13:9-10. These images of darkened heavens, stars no longer shining, the sun and moon losing their light, instill in the reader a sense of cosmic upheaval, a sign foretelling a terrifying, supernatural event far beyond any earthly war. This was not merely the collapse of a kingdom, but a fundamental transformation of all that was known. However, Isaiah's message did not end with destruction and judgment. What makes his prophecy so complex and hopeful is the blend of warning and the promise of salvation. He also prophesied of a shoot that would come up from the stump of Jesse, David's ancestor, a righteous king who would reign with divine wisdom and understanding. This figure would bring everlasting peace to all peoples, even altering the very nature of the natural world. The wolf will live with the lamb, the leopard will lie down with the goat, the calf and the lion and the yearling together, and a little child will lead them. Isaiah 11:1-6. This is a recurring theme in end-time prophecies, a combination of thorough judgment and the hopeful promise of restoration, a complete renewal. Ezekiel, visions of restoration and the final battle. By the 6th century BC, the situation had worsened. The people of Israel had been exiled to Babylon, living in captivity, their land lost, their temple destroyed, hope seemingly extinguished. In this desperate context, the prophet Ezekiel, an exiled priest, brought forth vivid, symbolic, and at times terrifying visions of the restoration of his people and a dramatic final battle. The vision of the Valley of Dry Bones, Ezekiel 37:1-14, is one of the most powerful and symbolic images in the entire Bible, frequently invoked when speaking of miraculous recovery. Ezekiel found himself led by God to a vast valley, not of lush greenery, but of scattered, lifeless, dry bones, symbolizing the utter decay, loss, and despair of the nation of Israel. They felt as if they had been cut off from their roots and their future. But when he obeyed God's command to prophesy to these dry bones, something miraculous happened. Ezekiel recounts, "So I prophesied as I was commanded, and as I prophesied, there was a noise, and behold, a rattling, and the bones came together, bone to its bone. And I looked, and behold, there were sinews on them, and flesh grew, and skin covered them, but there was no breath in them. Finally, when he prophesied about breath, breath entered them, and those dry bones came to life, becoming a very great army." This was not merely a promise of the physical restoration of the nation of Israel, but also a spiritual rebirth, a new life rising from the ashes of despair. However, this restoration did not mean an end to trials. Ezekiel also prophesied of a final war, often known as the Battle of Gog and Magog. Ezekiel 38-39. He described in detail a powerful alliance of nations from the far north, led by Gog, who would come to attack Israel after its restoration and peaceful settlement. Ezekiel described, "You will come from your place out of the uttermost parts of the north, you and many peoples with you, all of them riding on horses, a great host, a mighty army." Ezekiel 20:15. The detailed descriptions of the vast army, their weaponry, and the terrifying destruction that would befall Gog and his alliance at the hand of God have sparked countless interpretations throughout the centuries. Many have tried to link Gog and Magog to specific historical secular powers or contemporary military alliances. The ambiguity regarding the exact identity and location of Gog and Magog has made this one of the most mysterious and debated end-time prophecies. Is this a historical event that has already occurred, a future event to be taken literally, or a symbol for the eternal conflict between good and evil? Daniel, dreams and visions of world empires and the end times. The book of Daniel, written by the prophet Daniel also during the Babylonian exile, is distinct in that it contains prophecies conveyed not only directly, but also through the interpretation of mysterious dreams of kings and Daniel's own visions. This book focuses on the rise and fall of world empires and the signs foretelling the end times before the kingdom of God is established. King Nebuchadnezzar's dream of the colossal statue, Daniel 2, is a prime example. The king saw a statue with a head of pure gold, chest and arms of silver, belly and thighs of bronze, legs of iron, and feet partly of iron and partly of clay. Daniel interpreted that each part of the statue symbolized a mighty empire that would succeed one another. The gold head was Nebuchadnezzar's Babylonian kingdom. The subsequent parts were interpreted as the Persian, Greek, and finally, the powerful but later divided Roman Empire, iron mixed with clay. Most notably in this dream is the appearance of a stone cut out by no human hand, which struck the statue's feet, shattering it into dust. This stone then became a great mountain that filled the whole earth, symbolizing the eternal kingdom of God that would be established after all earthly empires collapse. This narrative has provoked much debate about the timing of this kingdom, whether it has already been established or is still a future event. Daniel's own visions of four monstrous beasts, Daniel 7, also carry similar significance, with each beast representing an empire. The first beast was like a lion with eagle's wings, the second like a bear, the third like a leopard with 4 wings and 4 heads, and the fourth was a terrifying and dreadful and exceedingly strong beast, with large iron teeth and 10 horns. This fourth beast is often interpreted as the mighty Roman Empire. Specifically, the emergence of a little horn from among the 10 horns of this fourth beast has become a hotbed of curiosity and controversy. This little horn had eyes like the eyes of a man, and a mouth speaking great boasts, and shall speak words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and shall think to change the times and the law. Daniel 7-8, 25. This little horn figure is often associated with a wicked political or religious power that will arise in the end times, referred to as the Antichrist in later traditions. The identification of this little horn has led to countless conjectures, from Roman emperors and historical popes to modern political leaders. Revelation, the panoramic picture of judgment and the eternal kingdom. If the earlier prophetic books only revealed fragments of the end-time picture, Then the book of Revelation, written by the Apostle John on the island of Patmos in the late 1st century AD, seems to paint a comprehensive, colorful, and at times the most incomprehensible symbolic picture in the entire Bible. It is the pinnacle of apocalyptic literature, a book that has haunted the imagination of believers and non-believers alike. Revelation opens with visions of the resurrected and glorified Jesus, standing among 7 golden lampstands, symbolizing the 7 early churches in Asia Minor. This is followed by warnings and encouragements sent to each of these churches, reflecting the challenges and moral decay they were facing. The central part of Revelation is filled with complex symbols and successive series of calamities, seals being opened, trumpets sounding, bowls of wrath being poured out, bringing forth images of war, famine, pestilence, and unprecedented natural disasters on earth. Figures like the slain lamb, symbolizing Jesus, the great red dragon, symbolizing Satan, the beast from the sea and the beast from the earth, often interpreted as evil political and religious powers, or the Antichrist and false prophet, have become familiar symbols in popular culture, often associated with chaos and evil in the last days. John writes, "And I saw a beast rising out of the sea, with 10 horns and 7 heads, with 10 diadems on its horns, and blasphemous names on its heads. It opened its mouth to utter blasphemies against God, blaspheming his name and his dwelling, that is, those who dwell in heaven." Revelation 13:1-6. The ambiguity of these symbols has led countless interpreters to attempt to decode them, associating them with Roman emperors, totalitarian political systems, or various historical figures. One of the most debated and curious passages is chapter 20, describing 1,000 years, the Millennium, during which Satan is bound, and the saints, those who have been resurrected, reign with Christ. After the 1,000 years, Satan will be released to deceive the nations once more, before being cast into the lake of fire and banished forever. This passage has spawned 3 main schools of millennial interpretation: premillennialism, postmillennialism, amillennialism, each with a different view on whether these 1,000 years are literal or symbolic, and when they will occur. Finally, Revelation concludes with a magnificent vision of the final judgment at the great white throne, where everyone must stand before God. This is followed by the appearance of a new heaven and a new earth, where there is no longer any sea, suffering, sickness, tears, or death. This is the image of an eternal kingdom of peace, justice, and the direct presence of God. Behold, the dwelling place of God is with man. He will dwell with them, and they will be his people, and God himself will be with them as their God. He will wipe away every tear from their eyes, and death shall be no more. Neither shall there be mourning, nor crying, nor pain any more, for the former things have passed away. Revelation 21:3-4. The biblical prophecies concerning the end times are not merely stories of destruction and restoration. They are powerful reminders of God's righteous judgment, but also a promise of great hope for those who persevere in faith. Their complexity, symbolism, and open-ended nature have ensured that they will continue to be a source of inspiration, curiosity, and endless debate for generations to come. And perhaps it is this very uncertainty, this mystery that remains largely unsolved, that makes these prophecies so captivating. They challenge us to think, to search, and most importantly, to prepare for a future that no one can definitively know.